Japan's new jet fighter. In fact, the FX project was launched around 2010 to create a super modern F-3 aircraft for the Japanese Air Force. For the record, this is the fourth FX program in the country's history. The Japanese were forced to start their own research by the position of the US military. We will tell you about the setup of the Americans later. At first things were very slow. There was enough money to develop several promising ideas in the field of avionics and engine building. The electronics were tested on the Advanced Demonstrator, the 5th generation Mitsubishi X2 Shinshin fighter built in a single copy. By the way, the project of the 5th generation X2 fighter remained unrealized and was frozen at the prototype stage. However, the attempt was not worthless. Apparently, the future Japanese F-3 will still inherit some characteristics of that aircraft. For example, Mitsubishi electronics engineers have created their own IFAR radar for the F-3, which is not inferior in its characteristics to the APG-81, an active phased antenna array radar developed by Northrop Grumman Electronics Systems for the F-35 fighters. In addition, the F-3 will implement an ultra-fast system for processing and transmitting information from all surveillance equipment, ground-based radars and drones. We should recall that it was the insufficient data processing speed that became the main disadvantage of the APG-81. The Americans plan to get rid of the vulnerability only by 2024. We are also talking about technologies that ensure stealth. This is one of the main features for 6th generation fighters. In this regard, the F-3 is expected to match the best American fighters, which surpass the Russian Su-57 in stealth. We should recall that the aircraft's visibility is characterized by its effective scattering area. Lockheed Martin's F-35 keeps this figure secret, although third-party experts estimate it at 0.2 to 0.3 square meters. American engineers claim 10,000s at certain scanning angles, so an object like this looks no more than a tennis ball on an enemy's radar. The new F-3 is designed with composite materials and fewer rivets. The Japanese are strong in this area, there will be no failures here. But you should not pay attention to the exterior of the Mitsubishi X2 Shinshin prototype. This is just a flying testing ground for technology. In fact, the S2 is close to the sub-griping, and it's close to the F-22 Raptor in terms of shape. The real exterior of the F-3 is still unknown, so it's too early to assess its effective scattering area. However, you can be sure that this figure will be no worse than the American counterparts. This is why Lockheed Martin was invited as a partner. Finally, as a result of many years of research, the concept of a new engine for the F-3 appeared. The power plant should have a compactness, increased thrust, and the ability to change the thrust vector by 20 degrees. In this regard, the Japanese have the most tangible success. On April 10, 2019, the prototype of the power plant, which got the XF91 index, passed the first bench test. Goals were met. The engine of the future F-3 fighter turned out to be 30% more powerful than the General Electric F-110 engine, which the F-15 and F-16 are equipped with, and the thrust at the afterburner of 15,000 to 16,500 kgf exceeds the thrust of the AL-31F engine for the Su-27. It should be recalled that Sukhoi has the figure of 12,500 kgf, which still makes it a fast fighter. Moreover, at this stage of development, the power of the XF-9 for the F-3 is comparable to the capacity of the Pratt and Whitney's F-119, which the F-22 Raptor is equipped with the XF-9 engine. The Japanese F-3 automatically becomes one of super maneuverable fighters. High maneuverability is another essential attribute of the 6th generation fighter. How do the Japanese achieve this for the F-3 engine? The engineers managed to achieve a turbine inlet temperature of 1800 degrees Celsius, and above the efficiency of the unit has increased, because the higher the temperature, the higher the power to achieve this figure. A new ceramic-based composite was created. The turbine casing was made of it. The old nickel-based alloy could withstand no more than 1400 degrees Celsius. Plus, some parts of the turbine were printed on a 3D printer. 3D printing technology increases the reliability of the unit. Thanks to the high-precision 3D printing, also reduces the total cost of the unit. Among the other achievements of the FX project, the kilowatt starter generator deserves special attention. It gives the prospect of equipping the F-3 with an energy cannon or a directional combat laser. Absolutely all powers are working in this direction. The successful use of each weapon instantly turns an enemy aircraft stuffed with complex electronics into a defenseless, unguided flying object. As for the F-3 missiles, a launcher for the American air-to-air and air-to-ground missiles will be used with a high probability. Although the Japanese have been conducting their own research in this area since 2013, there is no information on successful prototypes. It seems that the F-3 will become an outstanding fighter, and a formidable rival of the Russian Su-57 and Chinese Chengdu J-20. The question is when. Right now the budget for the creation of F-3 is $45 billion, but this was not always the case. For example, the project started in 2010, and the contract with Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, the main developer of the F-3, was signed only in October 2020. Amazing tardiness. The main technical partner was determined in December 2020. It will be the Lockheed Martin company. However, this could be predicted without much difficulty going further. The exact configuration of the airframe and the exterior of the F-3 should have appeared back in 2015, but the amount of money was not even enough to develop digital lands. This situation has developed, not only because of the slowness of the Japanese government, but also because of the intransigence of the main partner of the land of the rising sun, the United States. At first the Americans refused to share their secret technologies for a long time. They were afraid that the secrets would fall to the Russians. Then when the first Russian fifth-generation fighter, the Su-57, became a reality, the United States pushed for Japan's usual purchase of new F-35 fighters. Japan, on the other hand, feared losing the technology of building fighters forever, so it sought to obtain a license, as was the case with the fourth-generation F-15J DJ Eagle and the F-2AB fighters. The Mitsubishi Heavy Industries Corporation stated directly that if there is no license agreement, the link between generations of engineers will be interrupted, and in a few years there will simply be no specialists of the required profile in the country. So one can only dream of F-3, and this is a direct threat to the country's sovereignty. Today's military aircraft fleet of the country is about fighters. The most massive combat aircraft of the Japanese Air Force is the F-15 DJ Eagle fighter. There are 189 of these in service. This is nothing more than the McDonnell Douglas F-15 Eagle of the McDonnell Douglas Corporation, which has long been bought by Boeing. The first fighters were supplied from the United States, and then produced at the facilities of the Japanese Mitsubishi Heavy Industries Company under license. The fighter performed well against Russian MiGs during the Israeli operations in Lebanon and the Gulf War. However, that was a long time ago. The government of the land of the rising sun became thoughtful, and began to fear that American supplies would not strengthen the country's position in the air. After all, the F-15J DJ Eagle and F-2AB are aging rapidly. The technological gap could lead to a drop in Japan's defenses, which would provoke powerful neighbors to aggressive actions. It should be noted that despite Japan's advancement in various technologies, engineering traditions, and the creation of military equipment are a special feature in this area, the continuity of generations of engineers is extremely important. The reasons for serious concern about Japan's security are not unfounded. Although the country is NATO's main ally outside the bloc, the incident between Turkey and Russia and Syria's Idlib showed that with the real threat of open confrontation with the Russian Federation, the North Atlantic Bloc will not stand up even for its member.